Today you are joining me for the beginning of my very whimsical weekend. Let's give our magical elixir a little taste test. It's been my favourite summer, I think, maybe ever. Hello friends, welcome here or welcome back to another video. Today you are joining me for the beginning of my very whimsical weekend. I have just come back from foraging for some fruits which I saw ripening the other day when I went to a particular park, and I haven't quite come back with the bountiful harvest I was hoping for, but I still plan to make some extra special magic potions for the autumn season ahead. I would also really like to start a very whimsical witchy book, and I think I have the perfect one. This was super popular, I think last year, possibly even the year before, and that is Rewitched by Lucy Jane Wood. A lot of you will probably follow Lucy's work on YouTube, but she did also write this beautiful looking book, and I'm so excited to dive into this. So that is what I'm going to be starting today. And overall, I just plan to have a very cozy, slightly magical day to kind of say goodbye to the summer season and start welcoming or start preparing to welcome autumn in the coming weeks. Originally, I had planned to go to a cafe now and read out and about, but I'm feeling a little bit overwhelmed actually, because I went out this morning to find the fruit, as you saw, but I completely forgot that because it's a Saturday, there is a park run, and so I was trying to film amongst many people, and I always find that quite daunting. I'm really proud of myself that I persevered and I carried on anyway, but I am feeling like I just kind of want to mellow out a little bit for the next couple of hours. So instead, I'm thinking that I would like to begin making my little magical potions, and I'd like to start by making an elderberry syrup. So actually, maybe I should just clarify for those of you that weren't 100% sure on what I was finding and foraging today. I managed to find a good amount of elderberries, which I would like to make an elderberry syrup for. Elderberries are really good for boosting your immune system. They're full of vitamin C, K and A, I believe, and they just have a lot of immune boosting properties, loads of antioxidants, and I'd really like to have some elderberry syrup on hand for the autumn and then going into the winter months. I just think it'll be a good little reserve to have. And then the other day, whilst I was in that park, I noticed that there was a plum tree, which the fruit was ripening on and continuing to stay there, and nobody was picking it. So I went back today in the hopes that some of the fruit would be ready to pick, and a lot of it was able to be picked, but I was too short to reach the really good plums, unfortunately, so I only have a few plums. And likewise for the blackberries as well, they really were starting to go over, so I have maybe 6 tiny blackberries to add to my jam, but luckily the shop nearby was selling plums, so we have a few more plums to pack out the jam, which I would also like to make today. So my plan is to make the elderberry syrup, strain that through, and then use the pulp or the fruit from that and add that into my autumn harvest jam, which we'll be making a little bit later. So because everything's being switcherooed a little bit, I'm thinking I'm going to make myself a yummy coffee. I'm going to make some elderberry syrup, and then I think I have some pancakes in the freezer, which I'll defrost, and then we can have a really delicious little breakfast, which I think sounds a lot more appealing than braving the city on a Saturday morning. So if that cozy little day sounds good to you, then get cozy, get comfy, and let's settle in to the beginning of a very whimsical weekend together. Okay, let's go to the kitchen. So I've washed all the fruit with just water and some bicarbonate of soda, and then given them a really good rinse. So you can see I haven't got tons of elderberries, but I think there'll be enough for a small amount of syrup. We've got a nice amount of plums ready to go, and then a slightly pathetic amount of blackberries, but they're there nonetheless. So now what I need to do is to weigh the weight of the elderberries, so I know how much water and sugar to add to them, and we can go from there. Let's put an apron on for this, because I would rather not get covered in elderberry juice if possible. I should probably put my hair up too. Bear with me. There we go. And I found my ring as well, which I completely forgot to put back on after washing the fruit. Anyway, are we very dark in here? Is that better? I don't know. I have my recipe. So let's pop those. And then you want to cover it with some water. That feels right to me. And then we bring it to a boil, I believe. I want to add some warming spices to this. So I've got some nutmeg that I'll grate in, some whole cloves, cinnamon, ginger, and I might put a little star anise in as well. Just like there's like a little bit of one. Pop that in. A few cloves. I know what to use cloves in, so this is excellent. I know they have loads of medicinal properties. I'll have to look up exactly what they are, but when I was looking up the symbolism for the fruits that we're using today, it was really cool. So I will share that with you when we make the jam. And then I'm going to put some ground ginger and ground cinnamon in, and I just have to show you this spoon that my friend Anna got me for my birthday, and I adore it. It makes everything feel more magical, and especially as I'm making my magic potions. So I'm going to do a little bit of that. Let's turn this down. Oh, it smells so good. I feel like elderberries are quite strong, so they can take a decent amount of spice. Okay, and now we let it simmer for a while. There's a teeny tiny bit left, so I'm going to top this up with some hot water. And see what this tastes like. Okay, moment of truth. Let's give our magical elixir a little taste test. Ooh! Oh, that's nice. It's sweet, but it's not too sweet or strong because it's been diluted, but Do you know, I think this would make a really nice cold drink as well. If you use the syrup with like a ginger ale or a ginger beer or something, I think that would be a really lovely way to enjoy this restorative potion or elixir of health. Delicious. That's turned out so much better than even I was anticipating. I thought maybe it would be quite tart or sour, but it's really nice, especially with a little bit of hot water. And I think as well in the winter time, that'll be so nice with just some fresh ginger and lemon. I'm really looking forward to enjoying that. And now that I have my little cup of tea in hand, I am going to go and make a start reading Bewitched. I think I might have pancakes for lunch because I'm not super hungry right now. And there's no rules, is there? I can have pancakes for lunch if I would like to. So I am going to sit and enjoy my delicious little drink and make a start on this very fun book. So I have already begun setting the mood with some ambient fairy lights, and I am just really looking forward to starting a very girly, feel-good, magical read. So let's start this book together, friends. And we're back in the kitchen. I've eaten my lunch and now I'm ready to crack on and make our autumn harvest jam. So I've gone ahead and I've chopped up already all of the plums. I've popped in the blackberries and the pulp from the elderberry syrup. And I have also got out this kind of partially used bag of frozen cranberries from last year, which I'm gonna pop some of those, or maybe all of them. We'll see how much fruit I actually have. And I'm just gonna add these until it makes a number that looks good. Making jam is incredibly easy because it's literally just fruit and sugar. So you can't really go too wrong. But actually, before I get cracking with the fruit, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn my oven on to 100 degrees, and I've already got all of my empty jam jars that I have been collecting, and I'm gonna pop these in the oven to sterilize them. They're only gonna be in there for about 15 minutes. And then because most of these lids actually have some plastic in them, I'm not gonna put them in the oven. I am just going to kind of, is blanch the right word? I'm gonna put them in freshly boiled water for about 5 to 10 minutes as well, and then remove them, and that should sort of do the same thing. So that is the first order of business. We're gonna make some jam and infuse it with some magic, and it's gonna keep us going for the rest of the year, hopefully. So without further ado, let's get making some jam. Hello friends, it is many hours later, but I wanted to show you how amazing this jam looks. I'm really excited to try it. I think perhaps a bit later tonight I'll have a little bit of toast and I'll try it out, but it looks amazing. I mean, the colour is this gorgeous, like, warm, deep red colour. I'm very excited to try it. And they have all sealed up beautifully, which is such an important thing when you're making things to keep for a long time. So I've just poured myself some of the cold brew tea that I made earlier. So cheers to the beginning of the evening. That's so refreshing. I've had to close all the windows because It is hotter, I think, outside than inside, but also I apologise if you can still hear it, but there are people blasting music outside, like proper clubby music as well. So if you can hear it, I'll try and put some like low level ambient music over it so it's not too annoying, even though to me right now it is very tiresome. We persevere. I thought I would quickly give you a little reading update for Rewitched. I feel like maybe I should move the jam. This is looking more like an obstruction than a cute shot. Bear with me 1 second. Okay, I think that's marginally better, but I am loving Rewitched so far. I read it for a little bit earlier, and as you saw, and then with my dinner as well. Oh, it's so heartwarming. I think I'm gonna fly through this book. I already love our protagonist Belle, or Belladonna, and I love how witty it is, but also just how heartwarming. Even like the first paragraph, I was already so in love with the writing. She's talking about magic and when you're in the presence of another magical person. In the first, this is page 1, and she's talking about the smell of magic, and I just have to read it because it's honestly how I imagine autumn would smell if they were a person. So she says, "Then comes the smell, distinct like earth and embers and crisp toffee apples, combining to a heady, rich scent of what can only be described as warmth and home." How nice is that? And it is just everything I wanted it to be. Just think it's really lovely. So I'll let you know how I get on with the book in general, but for right now I'm loving it, and I will be reading more of this later tonight. But in terms of what we're going to do this evening, I really want to make some labels for my gorgeous little jars of jam. Before I get started, I thought I would get some inspiration by telling you about all of the kind of symbolism and meanings and representations behind the ingredients that I used in the jam, because I found it really interesting when I was researching it, and I thought perhaps you would too. So I've made a little list of all of the ingredients that I used in my various potions today. So my elderberry syrup and my autumn harvest jam. And I thought I would just tell you my findings. I've not gone super in-depth because I don't think you need to necessarily, but I thought it would be a little bit of fun to add a bit more whimsy to the jam making experience. Anyway, I think I'm just going to dive in because this video is going to be so long otherwise. So, from my very nominal research, elderberries. Let's begin with elderberries because we started the video with elderberries. Okay, elderberries commonly represent healing, protection, transformation, and the cyclical nature of life. Additionally, they are associated with wisdom, longevity, and spiritual growth, which I thought was so interesting that it was healing and protection and the cyclical nature of life, because they come into fruit right as the autumn season starts, which is when everything starts to kind of die and then be kind of put back into the earth. And then also representing healing and protection, because that's what I made the syrup for. I made it as kind of an antioxidant health booster full of amazing nutrients for the months ahead. So that's really cool. Blackberries, all 10 of them I think that I managed to find, symbolize renewal and abundance. Plums represent perseverance and hope, as well as beauty thriving in adverse circumstances. Cranberries symbolize bounty, gratitude, and the harvest. Oh, doesn't this just make you feel alive? I don't know. I think if you're a lover of books and words and stories, the idea that your everyday items or your everyday foods have these deeper meanings, or this deeper level of what it can give to you or what it can symbolize, is just really fun. And I think especially when you're trying to add magic in the mundane, this is like a really fun way to do that, because I was gonna make jam anyway, but making it into this kind of like magical experience is very fun. Moving on to spices. So, ginger, often associated with fire, passion, protection, and prosperity. Cinnamon for prosperity, protection, and purification. Nutmeg represents wealth, love, protection, and sometimes spiritual awareness. And then finally, star anise is for good luck, protection, and prosperity. So I'm sensing a lot of protection and prosperity from the spices that I've used today. It's just really nice to think that alongside all of the antioxidants and the health benefits of all the ingredients, apart from the sugar, of course, which is purely for joy, there is a little bit of magic stored away in those jars too. I don't know, that's just a nice thought to carry me through the winter. Now that I have an idea, or I've been reminded of the ideas of what is actually the magical essence of these potions or these jars of jam, whichever way you want to look at it, I would like to make some labels to go on or around them. One, so I know and remember what's in them, and two, I just think it's going to make them look really beautiful and I enjoy the whole experience. So I've got my box of crafting goodies. I'm going to find some paper or some labels. I'm not quite sure what I've got. I'm going to have a rummage, and we're going to make some cute little labels to put on these jars of jam.
Golden days drifting far away, light is leaving town, colors fade, but I'm thinking we stay just for a little while. Let's lose track of time, darling, stay for a little longer while I hold your time will wait. So just rest your head upon my shoulder, nothing in our way. It's colder but the day's not over yet. Summer nights, watch them go by as we fight off the cold, holding you tight. You know just what I'm thinking. I don't want this moment to go. No, I don't want this moment to go. Let's lose track of time, darling, stay for a little longer while I hold your time will wait. So just rest your head upon my shoulder, nothing in our way. It's colder but the day's not over yet.
I just tried the jam. It was very good, very cranberry forward in flavour, so probably not my most favourite jam I've ever made, but delicious nonetheless. I'm very much going to enjoy it throughout the autumn and winter seasons. I think I will also gift a few of them as well and spread some of the magic around. And so I think we have made it to the end of another video, and I also kind of feel like this is the end of the summer as well. I feel like this video was kind of like a little goodbye to summer, and what a summer it's been. It's been my favourite summer, I think, maybe ever. I have just had such a wonderful, intentional season, and so much has happened personally and professionally as well that just makes me feel so happy and so full of gratitude and kind of full of the energy of summer, you know, that kind of like warmth and energy and I am really excited for the seasons ahead. So one of the things I'm really excited about is all of the content that I have planned for the next few months. I actually have planned from now until January, pretty much planned, which is kind of crazy. And the reason that I'm able to plan so far ahead and to kind of be so excited about investing all of this time into new projects is because I finally have more time to invest into projects. And that is because my day job has slightly changed, which means that I am working less hours. And this was a choice on my end so that I can put more time and effort into YouTube and into building this channel and this community. And it is the craziest thing to be able to say that, but it is an absolute dream come true. And obviously I wouldn't have been able to make that decision without all of you guys. I very recently hit 8,000 subscribers. It just feels like I blink and this community is growing, and it's just the most unbelievable thing. So this video was a sort of celebration of what's to come and what has made this possible. So thank you so much for being here, friends, and for all your continued support. It means the world that you're here, and if this is your first video here, then welcome. I'm so happy to have you here. I would love to see you again soon. I post videos every other Sunday, and I'm hoping to sneak in a couple of extra ones for you guys now that I have a little bit more time on my hands. Anyway, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for joining me for this very whimsical little weekend day. I've enjoyed every single second of it, and it makes it even more special knowing that I'm sharing it with a friend. So thank you. Take care, friends, and I will see you very soon in another video. Goodbye.